Oh, hey guys, Jamie, just doing my Monday video. The market's already open. I'm here with Avery today. Avery, what's up? Speak. No, she just had her shots. Rabies, temperament. She's 7 months old. So I think she's a little bit recovering, sore. Anyway, so I'll keep this short. I don't have too much to say. Market's down. I know everybody that I'm talking to is just have their own opinion, right? But here's mine. I'm long-term, 5, 10, 20 years. Most of the stocks I have, other than like ETF, index, 401k, Roth IRA stuff, like it's long-term. God willing, I live, but regardless, that money is for long-term. And then for my own stuff, like accounts like Webull and Thinkorswim and Robinhood and Coinbase and like I'm very open. I have a certain amount of money that I play with. Like for me, like for some people it's more, and for a lot of people it's less. Like some people pay 50 grand, 100 grand. But as far as when I say play with, I mean like speculative, gambly type plays where I'm like options, not really too much day trading, but like swing trading and that type of stuff. My goal is always to take 10 grand and double it and take profit and rinse and repeat. That's been my strategy so far the past year or so, and from when I started almost 5 years ago, 2018, so almost 4 years, so not that long. And it took me a long time to get it, and that's why I share this stuff. So hopefully it's helpful for perspective, whether you're like, oh, I totally disagree, or hey, I didn't think about that. But anyway, here's what I'm looking at. So I want to talk about Netflix. I was looking at, and this is a great example. So Netflix, let me get myself out of the way here, massively beat down, right? Whew, man, look at this. Look at that. Below the RSI, it's like at 11. 11. That's crazy. So I thought from my previous experience, I was like, you know what? It dropped from up here, right, around 500 all the way down to 400, $100 a share. And a lot of people would think, oh, that's it. Wow, it's gonna bounce. I'm like, no, because I've lost money with that same mentality, and I'm like, it's probably gonna go down further. And like, it's down to 365, and at 11, most people are like, there's no way, right? So even now, I'm hesitant. And I can't buy 100 shares of Netflix at $366 a share, but I can buy some. And I'm not sure if I'd buy an option call right now, but it's possible. But either way, I mean, I think look at when you spread it out. I mean, where have you seen it below? But a few times, definitely not at 11. It's gone to 23, but never that low. I mean, that is the lowest it's ever been. So there's some opportunity there. There's some opportunity there. I just don't know if it's today or if it's going to be a week or a month or a year, right? But will it get back to 700 and go then? Maybe, maybe might be down the road. I definitely will be grabbing 5 to 10 shares of Netflix. And if I bought 10 shares of Netflix, so let's say I allocated $5,000 towards Netflix, just as an example, I'd say, okay, regardless of how many shares I can get, let me buy a couple now, and let me see if it goes lower. I mean, could it possibly go lower? I mean, that's why I'm kind of showing it here. But if I buy 1 or 2 shares today and then I watch it and see what happens over this next week, there is some big announcements coming up in general, which I'm not an expert on all that stuff, but I know that in March 16th, there's going to be a big announcement about the first tax rate hike, and I believe, and then whatever's going to happen to the market. I mean, it could go further down, and there's stuff that's going to happen between now and then. So you got almost 2 months. Today's the 24th. So this is just something I'm talking about. This is something that I'm watching. So whatever money you have set aside, however you're distributing it, whatever stock picks you have or cryptocurrencies, I mean, Netflix is something on my list. I have the charging stations because I think long term, I think they're a great opportunity, for growth. I mean, it has to be, right? Because we're not going to be on gasoline forever. That's why they're going to start infrastructure building these charging stations. And no one company is going to have them all. So I have Plug, ChargePoint, Volta, and CleanSpark. I'm not in ChargePoint a Plug, but they're on my watch list. I am in Volta and CleanSpark, and obviously all 3 of them are down 10% almost, right? They're 9%. So it's pretty equal, and same thing at the top for EVgo. So I like to kind of allocate. I'm already in Volta and CleanSpark, so I probably will put a little money into EVgo and maybe ChargePoint or Plug. I'm not sure yet. But again, it's something to watch, right? Like what's going on? What's going to happen? Where is it? Are we going further down? All of them pretty much around 30 or below the RSI, which are just indicators, or below that, right? So they're all below that. All seem to be below that. But I'm not panicking. I'm okay, because that money is money I'm not going to touch anyway. So when you can pull back and look at it and not be worried about it, that would be my recommendation. Companies like Activision, that had popped up, which is great. A lot of people did okay with that. I think in this market now, between the companies that I've heard about, like Walmart and McDonald's and Walgreens, CVS, all those type of companies, coffee, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever you're looking at. And I would think video games, because people are going to still play video games. They're cheap. People download them on their phone. It's mass adoption. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. I don't know what the actual number is, but I would think like companies like this will still grow. There'll still be opportunity there, but it's just a matter of what you're going to add each week. But I'm not a professional at how to make lots of money in this market. I'm just looking for opportunities long term, so that in 5 years from now I can look back and go, man, I'm so glad I averaged in over that year. If this just happens all year long. Bitcoin, right, to me is a big thing. So Bitcoin, I'm like, wow, was it almost 70 grand? This is awesome. Like, it's not awesome, but it's almost back down to that 28 grand range. And I'll be curious if I say, hey, I'd love to own as many Bitcoins as I can long term, but I can't buy 10 Bitcoins even at 28 grand, right? I'm not in that position, but maybe you are. But I can average in my cost, so if I buy $1,000 worth or $10,000 worth or $100 worth, whatever I can afford, obviously I'd like to get it as low as possible and keep adding. So I am dollar cost averaging in all, whether they're stocks or cryptocurrencies. I'm watching them and saying, okay, if I have $1,000 right now that I want to throw towards Bitcoin, maybe today I'll put $250 to $500, and then, for January, if I'm like every January, I want to allocate $1,000 towards Bitcoin. Then if it comes back down to 29, obviously I want to see how the rest of this month plays out before no matter what, I put that $1,000 towards Bitcoin. And then next month, if I have the same thing, I'm going to see where it's at and I'm going to watch it. I probably wouldn't put it all in at once unless I was absolutely convinced, for me, that, wow, it's no way it's going to go lower than that. And I don't know. I'm never positive. I just kind of try to do my best, because nobody can 100% predict the market of the top or the bottom. That's what I've learned, right? But when you pull back, let me see if I can do that weekly thing. Weekly, maybe, yeah, I'll do a week. So when you go to the weekly thing, you can see overall, even with the big pullbacks, right, it's still up. I don't know what the actual percentage is, but yeah, I think year over year it averages 20%. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what I've heard a few times. Michael Saylor, I like him a lot. He's a big Bitcoin bull, right? He's definitely all in on Bitcoin. So, but I know that overall it still keeps going up and up and up, and I think it will eventually get over 100,000. I don't know if it'll go to $1 million, but I think it'll get over 100,000. So, in your portfolio, I think it's a good idea to have some Bitcoin. Just like it's good to have some real estate. It's good to have some diversity in your money. But that's all. That's about 10 minutes there. That's what I want to share on Monday, as everybody's looking at it. That's my sentiment. That's what I'm looking at. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See you.